Okay, so hey everybody, it's AJ. I think I've been talking to the camera and not live for quite some time now. So, anyways, I am very happy to be here. A little bit about my channel. As you know, obviously, I barely have any subscribers or any video views or anything like this. So, if anybody's seeing this, I'll just be lucky. But more than likely, I'm just going to be kind of talking to myself. That's just kind of the way it goes when you're very first starting out. But anyways, my name is AJ Rivera, and I am super into tech, into videography, photography, a lot of audio production, and uh, I'm also a marketing director at around a $5 million business. It's actually a home service down at Greensboro, and yeah, it's okay there. Um, but a couple of things that I'm working on right now is building a really cool studio and training center where we're going to use virtual reality, as in like the Oculus goes, to train our technicians with footage used from where'd it go? Footage used from here it is. Sorry about that. Footage used from this, which is the Insta 360. Really like this camera, and you strap it to somebody's chest, and then you get the view of like their arms and everything like that when you put on the virtual reality, or when you put on the VR goggles. You feel like you're doing whatever they were doing. So it's going to be a really cool way to train our new people, get their feet wet without ever having to leave the premises. So it can also be used as a tool for recruiting, and also it's just kind of something that hasn't really been done in our specific industry. So anyways, I get to talk about some cool tech because of that, because I'm building all that stuff. I basically got to go on a little shopping spree and buy multiple TVs, tables, chairs, built a roughly a $2,200 rig, and I'm going to talk about that in another video. But it's got a 3900X, 64 gigabytes of, unfortunately, only 3,000 megahertz RAM, DDR4, and the thing I'm really excited about is I got two Sabrent rockets, which are PCIe 4.0, and I have an X570 gaming carbon Wi-Fi from MSI that has those little heat sinks built in to the board, and it's PCIe Gen 4 ready. So I'm expecting some lightning fast stuff out of both of my drives. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm not going to be doing any really heavy gaming on it. It's more of a work rig. So I've got the GeForce 1660 Super and an EVGA 600 watt gold rated power supply. Thing is, it's actually non-modular, so luckily the case I can't remember the name of the case, but I'm lucky that case I had a really nice basement, covered basement in it, and I was able to stash all the cords under there, and the cable management turned out great, especially with not having to connect all the set of cables for different drives and things like that, because I just popped in the two M.2 or M.2 1 terabyte drives. So I am super thrilled with that build, but it just seemed really simple because I had to install 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only had to really install 9 things on there, and it went really quick. So a couple of things that I'm running into are definitely running into some issues with the clock speed of my RAMs coming out 2133. So I went into the BIOS and changed the memory profile on there. So hopefully tomorrow when I go into work, I've got some drivers to load and things like that still. But hopefully I'll be setting some benchmarks tomorrow, and I can make a little video about that as well. So with that, let's actually get going on a little bit of Forza. So I really love this game, and yeah, I just really like this game. It's really okay, so the things I really like to do on here are just like basic time trials and stuff. And one sort of interesting thing that I did a few years back when I was really into racing games, I had a Vio and everything like that, was I was in the top 100 in that Gran Turismo, what was it, GTA or
Heard there's a special deal happening right now. Cool cars and stuff you won't get anywhere else.
I was so close to like being able to go on the show and stuff like that. So anyways, oh yeah, check out my green light back here. Pretty cool. Anyways, okay. So let's get going with a little. Let's see what's going on in the race shop. Okay, let's see. Do I feel like rocking now? Ooh. I need to go to. See what kind of driver gear they got. What's that? Okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna go full on driver gear. I already know what I'm gonna pick. I really like that Statue of Liberty one. The hell in the hell. Cool. But anyways, go with that. So another thing that I am really into is Howard Stern. I listen to him and replays of him literally all day. I have a really cool set of the J-Labs wireless earbuds. Whoa. Snap. Oh, shit. Shoot. Anyways, I keep those in while I'm working, and the funniest thing on there is I'm just really fascinated with, just some of the people in there. There's this guy with a really high-pitched voice. He sounds like maybe not. I can't really do it. Hey, Howard. Anyways, his name's Harpoon, and he's like huge though. He's 350 pounds with a super high-pitched voice, and he's kind of gay but kind of not. He likes men, but he only wants like man to like be his father and stuff like that. And he's getting so rich because everybody's hitting him up to do cameos, and now he's got all this money rolling in. Before he was living on SSI. Now the dude is just rolling in it. He's doing like 10 of those a day. So, anyways, let me move my setup here just a little bit. I'll do a little bit forward here. There we go. There we go. Okay, so let's do some revision channel. No. There we go. Okay. And here we go. I'm going to take you guys on a trip right away. Here we go. The Nordschleife. The Nordschleife. The monster that's going to get you. Okay, so one concurrent viewer. So I had somebody viewing on there. Anyways, so anyway, let's hop back to Forza real quick. Oops, sorry about that. I am going, like I said, I am going to show you guys about the Nordschleife. You can actually see, check this out. I am ranked 160th in the Americas and 429th in the world. So, and I'm using a controller. So I'm pretty happy about that, if you can't tell. It's just nuts. You can see it. Look at my beautiful F1 car. I love this thing. Okay, so I have no idea why my frames per second are dropping below 30 for some reason. Ridiculous. So I'm quoting this race because for some reason Forza is just really dumb, and they really want to mess me up every time because I have a controller set up so and it recognizes it and it's in there, but it makes me go to that screen every single time I start the game. It's ridiculous. So let's do this here. So frames per second are dropping. For some reason, they're starting all the way again, one more time. This is the thing with the Nürburgring. I mean, you really have to be good. I mean, you have to be really good to conquer this track. So, anyway. Excuse me, folks, for just one quick second. Ruby, come here. What? She's supposed to be asleep. Yeah, dog keep bothering her. So, I'm gonna go take care of the dog. I'll be right back with you. Oh, okay, come on, fucking bite. Ooh, oops, my bike pack. Oh, okay, thank you. So, I have a beagle, and one of her favorite things to do is to bother my little girl, Ruby, by licking her feet. So, very interesting stuff, and yeah, Joey, stay out of there. Stay out of there. Come here. Come here. Come here. I want to introduce you to my dog real quick, but Tilly, get out of there. Hey, out. Come here. Come on. Come on, Tilly. She's not cooperating, of course. So here we go. Drift that thing. Damn, that's tough. Okay, so we're gonna try a different track because I haven't played this in like probably 6 months, and the control, with a controller with a Formula One car is like, good luck. So we'll get something a little less fancy like the Class A's. Hey, until they get out of there. Until they get out of there. It's good. Oh, yeah. Get up here. Hey, everybody. This is Matilda. Matilda, you want to say hi to the look? You have to look at the camera right here. Look right here. There you go. Say hi to everybody. I'll say hi, everybody. Let's say hi, everybody. Anyways, Matilda's my pooch, and I love her. She's a beagle. And she's looking for a place to rest her bones right now. And I sorted out this little streaming setup here, and she can't hop on the couch, so anyways, I want to help her out with that. Okay, so let's just do, one of my favorite courses is the Brands Hatch Grand Prix track. Love this track. Okay, let's see here. Ooh. Yeah, we could race that DB11. That thing's beautiful. Judy. Getting ready to go live. So we talked about the BlackMagic design, talked a little bit about Howard Stern. I also want to talk a little bit more about Howard Stern later. Obviously, his transformation, his book, and some gear. Talk about the AMD processor, the build. I already kind of talked about that. Criticism, ooh. Okay, so that is the perfect thing right there. Oops. So as I race here, this should be interesting with this Aston Martin. So it's such a beautiful car. All of those Astons are just gorgeous. Anyways, I wanted to talk a little bit about platform high like a spider or something. Anyways, entire thing live. It could be 4 camera setups, so I mean you could have 4 camera ops that could really put together something cool. Or you could have 2 stationary cameras and 2 camera ops and 1 person controlling the switches. Anyways, hey Ruby, what are you doing? Okay. Okay, so let's check this Joker out. I really want to check this out. Oops. Okay, so really cool. I really like CInerma Sins, and I just saw earlier that they posted Joker, CInerma Sins for Joker. So if you haven't seen Joker and you are watching this live stream now, you may want to turn it off if you haven't seen it. And if you haven't seen it, you should just see it. It's a good movie. It's a really good movie. So let's do this. All right. Oh, you guys get to see my messy desktop there. Okay, so let's hop over here, YouTube, and see, it's funny because they recommended my own video to me. That's actually really interesting that they would do such a thing as as that. Anyways, let's cut to the picture-in-picture, and look, it's hilarious. They have, oh, AJ, let's recommend your own video to you. Let's see. We'll do it again. Yeah, I don't know why. So, oops, did not mean to go there. No thanks. Oh, dang. Okay, here we go. So, this should be interesting.
Monday.com is a platform to manage your entire marketing team, from content creation and strategic planning.
You know, a retro logo loses its effect when a Warner Media plug shows up at the bottom of the screen.
I'm not out that long to smell it, but I think to look at it, it's terrible.
It's rare for a movie to include critical reviews about itself anywhere, much less at the very beginning. This is the whole movie right here. He tugs at himself enough, he can see himself as funny. The movie tugs at itself enough, vague setting, obvious references, it can see itself as unique. When you're going out of business, why would you spend money on a sign clown? You are going out of business! Stop spending money! Giving the movie a sin for me never being able to see the film script search. What? But you can go get them out of the basement and read them to him? What kind of rules is this joint running with? I can't really buy Arthur somehow wrestling this file away from Carl.
So, I had a really good time doing this. I'll do it again soon, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who tuned into this, so it was like talking to myself. Anyways, all right, we're gonna end it.